I am the crown prince's consort. The crown prince's concubine struts before me. Flaunting her pregnancy, I'm already carrying his child. While you've yet to receive his favor. Sister? Far from angered. I smile and urgently instruct the imperial physician, ensure the child survives at all costs. I've waited 3 years for the Eastern Palace to announce good news. So I may claim the father's title. Keep the child. And rule from behind the curtain. Emerging from Fengzhou Palace. I encounter a woman surrounded by admirers. Adorned in gold and jade. She led a large retinue that bowed to me in a manner far from proper. This must be the renowned Miss Su, the future crown princess consort? I frowned slightly. Who does she think she is? Among the women of the imperial capital. Who dares speak to me like this? I am Zhang Liangdi, newly appointed to the Eastern Palace. I come to pay my respects to the future crown princess consort. I intended to arrive earlier. But alas. The crown prince keeps me by his side night after night. Leaving me utterly exhausted in the mornings, an apologetic smile graced her delicate, alluring features. If you couldn't make it, you shouldn't have come. Don't embarrass yourself before our young mistress. Xu Xian scolded. Xu Xian, my personal maid, was still young and impatient, allowing Lady Zhang to seize upon her slip. Our young mistress has such an impatient temper. We who serve him closely must prepare his meals and garments, attending to his every comfort. Unlike Miss Su, who at 20 still remains unmarried, with leisure to stroll through the gardens. Zhang Liangdi sighed dramatically, her voice dripping with smug satisfaction. Xu Xian was about to protest further. I raised my hand, cutting her off. A sparrow has barely perched on a branch, yet claims to have seen the blue sky. Why waste breath? I averted my gaze and walked past her indifferently. Unexpectedly, instead of stepping aside, she charged straight at me. She knocked me off balance. And I stumbled, landing on the ground. Clutching my stomach, I began wailing. Sister, even if I've upset you, you don't have to hit me. I'm carrying the crown prince's child. My steps halted abruptly. What did you say? A flash of vicious triumph flickered in her eyes. My sister carries the crown prince's child within her. Already 3 months along. Attendants. Bring a seat. With a wave of my sleeve, I signaled Xu Xian to escort her to the nearest pavilion. Summoned the imperial physician. Zhang Liangdi grew uneasy. My personal physician is at the Eastern Palace. Isn't he incapacitated? Can he even make it back? My gaze burned into hers. I summoned Ren, the most senior physician. He attended to the grand princess when she bore me. What are you afraid of? Of course I'm afraid you'll abort my child. Though she didn't say it outright. Her eyes betrayed her fear. She stared anxiously down the road, clearly having already sent word to the crown prince and now waiting for his arrival. See how helpless and fragile she appears. Look at me. So strong-willed and spoiled. Jealous and competitive. Then hoping he'd rescue her from the fire. But the crown prince didn't come. Physician Ren arrived first. Mr. Ren, please take this young lady's pulse. Zhang Liangdi clenched her fists. Xu Xian pressed her hands down on the table. Physician Ren felt her pulse. To the Lan Tai Ling. It is a pulse of joy. My heart trembled. How many months? 3 months. She stumbled earlier. Is the pregnancy still stable? No major concerns. It's a joyous occasion. Suppressing the turmoil within, I forced calmness. Xu Xian. Draft a gift list. Select some tonics and supplements from the storehouse to send to Zhang Liangdi. I smiled and patted her hand. You must bring this child safely into the world. Zhang Liangdi stiffened. A girl would be best. I instructed. I prefer girls. The firstborn must be a daughter. Her gaze toward me grew reverent. I knew exactly what these women schemed in their hearts. The palace is a battleground. They vie for favor. Such narrow-mindedness. They assume everyone is like them. My desires differ from theirs. So she cannot fathom me. I dispatched men to escort Lady Zhang back to the Eastern Palace. Safe and sound. I strode swiftly back to my residence. Only upon entering did I burst into laughter. Excellent! Excellent! This is splendid! I haven't felt this content in 3 years. The steward asked, "What good fortune has befallen our master?" "The Eastern Palace awaits joyous news." I flung my sleeves wide. Banquet. Music. Today I shall drink myself into a stupor. Not until I'm utterly drunk. The steward obeyed. In 7 months, Zhang Liangdi would give birth. Before then, I must marry into the Eastern Palace and become the rightful mistress. Order the Imperial Astronomical Bureau to find an auspicious date and arrange my marriage to the Crown Prince. Yes. Your Majesty. The current emperor has always been frail and can no longer handle state affairs. The Crown Prince is a brute, utterly unfit to be emperor. I'd gladly send both of them packing. I'll rule from behind the curtain while cradling my child. I dream of this child every night. Zhang Liangdi promptly handed me a pillow. She may be a bit dim, but it doesn't matter. As long as she bears me a daughter, I'll grant her a lifetime of splendor and wealth. She'll be a canary in a gold cage anyway. Being a man or being mine, what difference does it make? I don't even need her for the bedchamber. She'll learn in time who truly holds the power. The next morning, I finished the drafts for Fengzhou Palace early and set out in full regalia for the Eastern Palace. Zhang Liangdi came from humble origins. Every gesture dripping with the air of a courtesan. Rumor had it she was born into the world of prostitution. A woman like that, pregnant, would be torn apart by the other concubines in the inner quarters. Without someone to protect her, she'd die without knowing how. I intended to lend her my presence. A warning to the other favored concubines to abandon their petty schemes. Entering the palace square, I saw the crown prince in hunting attire, playing polo, graceful as orchids and elegant as a jade tree. His bearing was dashing and heroic. For a fleeting moment, I mistook him for Brother Lin Huai and found myself gazing at him, utterly transfixed. But when he turned his head, his sharp features, high nose, deep-set eyes, jolted me back to reality. Brother Lin Huai is gone. This is the man who rules the Eastern Palace now. I closed my eyes briefly. Had Brother Lin Huai remained, I would have been the mistress of this place long ago. Oh, if it isn't Miss Su. Zhao Huan dismounted with a playful leap before me. What's this? Remember you have a fiancé? I curtsied with dignity. Su Jingyan, chief clerk of the Imperial Archives, pays her respects to the Crown Prince. Zhao Huan lifted my chin. With such a beautiful face. Why so dull? Come on. Say something sweet. Tell me you missed me. TSK. How did I ever let him become Crown Prince? A misstep. Your Highness. Please show restraint. I coldly turned my face away. I've come to visit Lady Zhang Liang. What Zhang Liangdi? Never heard of her. A young lady I met yesterday in the Imperial Garden. We hit it off immediately and had a delightful conversation. Zhao Huan toyed with his riding crop, his eyes glancing lazily at me. Oh, Miss Su must be mistaken, there is no Zhang Liangdi in the Eastern Palace. Alarm bells rang in my heart. Then I'll go have tea with the other sisters. Fine. I'll accompany you. Zhao Huan trailed lazily beside me as we entered the inner quarters of the Eastern Palace, summoned everyone out. The palace ladies lined up before me. Zhao Huan slumped in his chair. Legs crossed. Miss Su wishes to see you all. Lift your head so Miss Su may see clearly. Is there anyone named Zhang Liangdi among you? They raised their faces. A chill gripped my heart. They varied in height and build, yet all bore strikingly similar faces. My face! Now I realized yesterday's Zhang Liangdi had also shared a faint resemblance to me when she smiled. Well, is she here? Zhao Huan arched an eyebrow, a flicker of fire dancing in his dark eyes. I examined them 3 times over. No. I gave a slight nod. I must have mistaken her for someone else. Zhao Huan patted the chair beside him. Since you haven't found the person you sought, why not join me for tea? No sooner had he spoken than the Imperial Astronomical Bureau arrived to present a tray. All auspicious dates within the next 6 months are listed here. Your Highness, please select one. Perfect timing. Jing Yan, you may choose our wedding date too. Zhao Huan slumped lazily into his chair, a faint smile playing on his lips. I held myself with dignified propriety. The late Crown Prince passed away less than 3 years ago. Jing Yan is still observing mourning. I was originally betrothed to brother Lin Huai. Before the marriage was consummated, he passed away. Only then was I betrothed to Zhao Huan. The Eastern Palace may change, but the consort seat remains constant. Mourning. Huh? His almond-shaped eyes narrowed. Then why aren't you in mourning attire? You'd look especially striking in plain white. Furious, I stormed into Fengzhou Palace. Have you located consort Zhang Liangdi yet? Xu Xian glanced at me with reverence, in the well beneath the camphor tree east of the Imperial garden. I snatched a teacup and smashed it on the floor. Zhao Huan. That beast! Lady Zhang could never have imagined. The very man she longed to step on to win favor would be the one to take her life. Furious, I flung all the memorials onto the floor. Nearly 3 years. And the Eastern Palace still has no heir. Am I to marry him just to bear children? Does Zhao Huan even deserve it? Just as my rage peaked, my aunt arrived. I straightened my collar. Greetings, Your Majesty. My aunt, crowned with phoenix ornaments, was advanced in years yet still radiant. Her loving gaze brushed my chest. I've heard everything. Yen'er. Don't be angry. Don't be angry. Ah. I wish to depose the Crown Prince. I declared coldly. Depose the Crown Prince? Then only Prince Huai remains. His Majesty has few heirs who survive to adulthood. After my brother, the Prince of Lin Huai, passed away, the position of Crown Prince was contested between Prince Huai and Zhao Huan. Prince Huai is the son of consort Jian, who has her own powerful maternal clan. That's why Auntie allied with the 23 families of Guanlong to secure Zhao Huan's place in the Eastern Palace. He's just a lucky beneficiary. Zhao Huan is unscrupulous and cunning. The way he stares at people, he looks like a wolf. You still can't control him? Auntie smiled at me. He's just a soldier, playing polo all day. Give him gold, silver, and women, and he'll forget everything else. Isn't that the perfect emperor? That's true. Back when the Crown Prince was being chosen, Auntie had discussed it with me too. Zhao Huan's mother was a lowly palace maid who died young. He never even attended the Imperial Academy. I doubt he recognizes more than a few characters. After His Majesty fell gravely ill, Auntie took charge behind the curtain. I entered the Phoenix Pavilion as chief of the Imperial Archives, drafting imperial decrees. This Crown Prince Zhao Huan doesn't meddle in state affairs. His monthly expenses on feasting and pleasures remained within acceptable limits. If things could stay this way forever, it would indeed be quite pleasant. Had you married him sooner and borne him a son or daughter, you could have rid yourself of him. Aunt gazed at me meaningfully. I offered no clear response. Attendant, send him another woman to attend him in the night. I gave Zhang Liangdi a lavish burial. Rumors began circulating once more throughout the imperial capital. They said my failure to marry into the Eastern Palace meant Zhao Huan disliked me. That he had a commoner born white moonlight and looked down on me, a noble Su family daughter. No matter how proper and dignified I behaved, my love for him was unrequited. When I heard these rumors, I was already gloomy over Lady Zhang Liang's death. Watching a young man practice swordsmanship at home. Brilliant. Brilliant. I sipped my pear blossom wine. My eyes fixed on the youth's fluid, taut waistline. Whoever this storyteller is, they're quite talented, crafting such tales about me and His Royal Highness. It's the Girls' Academy. Clang. I slammed my wine cup onto the table. Anyone in this world can spread such idle gossip. But not the Girls' Academy. This academy was founded by my mother, inviting scholars from all schools to educate the daughters of noble families. It teaches both Confucian and legalist principles, with no taboos. After 30 years of cultivation, it has quietly begun to surpass the Imperial Academy, though I was taught in the Eastern Palace as a child. Because of my mother, I often came here. The moment I entered, I took my seat as the head instructor. My lazy sisters instantly fell silent, rising to bow. Greetings, Lady Lon Tai. I hear your studies are insufficient. Day after day, you learn from the gossip mongers of the streets, discussing love affairs and trivial household matters. My gaze turned cold upon them. 30 years ago, the Grand Princess founded this academy so you could study the 4 books and 5 classics alongside men, learning the strategies to support the dragon. In our current dynasty, only Lady Lu, the chief ritualist, holds a proper official post, a mere 7th-rank position, not even qualified to attend court. Instead of diligently studying to become ministers or generals, you indulge in idle chatter. What? Do you dream of marrying a man? Retreating to the inner quarters to embroider and cook? Becoming one of his many wives? Relying on his favor to survive? The sisters held their breath. You aspire to public service. Do you truly understand what that entails? Yes. We do. Sit. I'll have the examination papers distributed. The grain transport from the eastern capital halts at winter's onset and resumes in spring. Devise a method to maintain canal transport throughout winter. Compose a memorial and submit it. If you cannot finish, you need not return for dinner. The sound of ink brushes scraping paper echoed through the academy. I looked at these bright young girls. Utterly hopeless. 30 years ago. Who among us wasn't hidden away? Unknown to the world? My mother possessed extraordinary talent and saw through this world long ago. Men are useless. That's why women's education flourished. After my mother passed, my aunt leveraged the party's influence to silence court and public dissent, appointing the first female official. Then I rode the momentum of my mother and aunt to become the first female head of the Guanlong 23 clans. This is the best of times. One after another. They know nothing of books, only gossiping about the hidden affairs of the inner quarters. Surely their studies are lacking. The doorframe rattled. A woman in a black gold robe, wearing a monocle, stood by the door, smiling at me. Her long hair fell loosely over her left shoulder, radiating a carefree, untamed spirit. A game of Go? The head of the Women's Academy. The first female official of our dynasty. Lu Qing. The legitimate daughter of the Lius of Guangdong. Agreed. In the pear blossom courtyard, Lu Qing and I faced each other, pieces in hand. We've clashed since childhood. Back in the Eastern Palace as tutored companions, we were evenly matched rivals. Either I came first, or she did. Neither would yield to the other. Brother Lin Hui set the problems. He truly was a talent envied by heaven. But when Lu Qing entered officialdom, I exerted considerable effort behind the scenes. Though I hold the rank of Imperial librarian, it's merely a subordinate post within the Empress's palace, unlike hers. Her office may be minor, yet she possesses full insignia and authority. Having seen the world, I know only Lu Qing could shoulder such a role. What on earth have you been teaching these days? Making the young ladies gossip about me constantly? The affair between Miss Su and the Crown Prince is the greatest political matter in the land. Why shouldn't it be discussed? It's just that they don't know how to speak of it properly. Then what is your brilliant insight? I've mingled in the flower districts and met your Crown Prince. Lu Qing's eyes are amber, like a sly fox behind crystal lenses. They say he only patronizes women who resemble you. I slammed down my piece. Mid-game. I crushed her big dragon. Such a temper. Lu Qing pushed her glasses up helplessly. Want another game? No. I swept my sleeves and left. It's rare you come by. Chatting would be nice. I've composed a new piece. Lu Qing smiled. I glanced at her. You're the worst at playing the qin. And I don't like a single word you say. I'm leaving. On the way back. I seethed with anger. Zhao Huan did this deliberately. To show off to me. He just wanted to say I'm nothing but a woman. To humiliate me. After thinking it over, I went to the Harmony Pavilion to find Suwen, whom I liked. Suwen was handsome and played the qin beautifully. Even sitting there silently, his white robe as pure as snow, was a sight to behold. I listened to the melodies, sipped wine, and drifted into a light buzz. The music stopped at some point, and Suwen sat beside me. Miss Su, is something troubling you? Everything troubles me. Forget it. Suwen gently undid his robe and pressed his lips to mine. His scent was light. His movements tender. I found it utterly soothing. After our lovemaking, I finally closed my eyes in Suwen's embrace. Then I heard shouts below. Who the hell are you people? Daring to break into the Harmony Pavilion? I shot upright. Indeed. Who dares trespass into the Harmony Pavilion? Here. I'd give them 10 times their courage. And they still wouldn't dare disturb my peaceful slumber. Unless that person openly provokes even me. My face darkened as I slipped on my coat, pushed open the window, and climbed out. Miss Su, be careful, Suwen urged. His eyes filled with concern. Shut your mouth. Don't say it has anything to do with me. I cupped his chin and pressed my lips to his. Then turned and darted into the carriage, urging the horses back to the Su residence. Lu Qing had a notorious reputation in the Imperial capital. Truth be told, I often stayed out late myself. But I was careful. Even my father, who married my mother, that esteemed grand princess, could openly provide me with several stepmothers. I don't know why I keep a few handsome younger brothers and still have to sneak around. Why I have to flee in the dead of night. Half-dressed. Terrified Zhao Huan would catch me. How infuriating. I rushed home, burst into my boudoir, and sank into the hot bath, hoping it was all a false alarm. Alas, fate had other plans. Before the water grew warm, Zhao Huan kicked the door open. Where were you tonight? His body radiated cold, mirroring his pitch-black eyes. I haven't even married yet. The crown prince barging into my boudoir, isn't that improper? He grabbed my neck and yanked me out of the water. Where were you tonight? I wore only an untied nightgown. My robes were half wet, my long hair cascading like a waterfall. Zhao Huan's eyes blazed red with fury as he choked me. Which man were you sharing sweet intimacy with behind my back? Huh? That male performer from the Hanging Pavilion? I sighed and wrapped my arms around his shoulders. Why go mad? I've never neglected you. His beautiful almond eyes widened in fury. He let me push him onto the bed, dazed. Things that sleep can fix, why speak more? I detest men who fight over jealousy. I could only lend him one hand. Youthful passion prevailed. He wouldn't rest until midnight. I pulled the quilt over me. It's late. You should go. Zhao Huan sat up again after lying down. What did you say? I'm not married yet. If you stay here, my family will gossip. You're afraid of gossip? Zhao Huan scoffed. You're the head of the Su family. Who in the Su household dares gossip about you? My arms ached. My body weary, I had no energy left to argue. Well then, a night spent together has its own merits. I spoke softly, patting him gently. Sleep. Zhao Huan lay back down. From behind, he wrapped his arms around my waist. Time and again I tried to shake him off. Yet his warm embrace would press back against me. At the fourth watch the next day, I went to court while Zhao Huan still slept. I instructed Xuxian, redeem Su Wen and place him in the villa outside the city. All last night's patrolmen shall receive 20 strokes of the cane. My Su residence spans 9 courtyards deep. A mere Zhao Huan dared to break into my boudoir single-handedly. Are my private guards all freeloaders? This defies all sons of justice. The next day, Zhao Huan made an unprecedented visit to the Phoenix Pavilion. He watched me draft official documents. What brings your highness here? Zhao Huan toyed with a brush on the table. I wish to learn state affairs. If the crown prince truly wished to study, he wouldn't have driven away 3 tutors. Perhaps those tutors were too old and tedious. It would be better if sister taught me personally. His phoenix-like eyes grew hazy as he leaned closer. Without looking up, I pressed the pen tip against his lips. Work. No. Zhao Huan's gaze deepened as he kissed the pen. I can wait. I'll be busy late tonight. You can go hunting or play polo. I said I'll wait. Zhao Huan flipped through several of my memorials, struggling to stay awake for half an hour before resting his head on them and closing his eyes. I worked all day. He slept all day beside me. As dusk approached, I set down my brush. Take today's draft memorial to the Empress Dowager for her seal. Zhao Huan's long lashes fluttered, waking him at just the right moment. He sprang upright, his gaze darkly fixed on me, like a starving wolf. Yet the way he gathered my waist and kissed me was gentle. I collapsed into his embrace, closing my eyes to savor this rare tenderness, until his breath quickened and he bit off the golden hairpin from my locks. My long hair cascaded down. His kisses trailed down my neck to my collarbone. I'm tired, I murmured faintly, too weary to keep my eyes open. Kissing is fine, but I lack the energy for more. Zhao Huan's breath caught. His scorching fingertips helped me adjust my robe. His voice hoarse. A new restaurant opened in Wuyong Lane. I'll dine at home, Your Highness. Very well. Your family's wine is quite delicious. I froze. When did you drink my family's wine? Oh. I took one from your shelf this morning. You scoundrel. That was my treasured aged daughter's red wine. I glared at him, fastened my golden hairpin, and descended the palace steps with dignified poise. Head on, I encountered Zhao Xian, gracefully clad in white. Your Highness, Prince of Huai. I bowed my head in greeting. Sister, working so late in Fengzhou Palace must be exhausting. Have you been losing weight lately? Zhao Xian smiled at me, then drew a scroll from his robe. I recently acquired this masterpiece by Master Wending. Remembering your fondness for his work, I brought it especially for you. Oh, my spirits lifted. Let me see. The ink's fragrance lingered, the strokes bold and unyielding, a natural dignity radiating from every line. Wending, Wending. I smiled and shook my head. Of the 10 measures of literary talent in the world, Wending alone possesses 8. I wonder who this Mr. Wending truly is. His literary fame spreads far and wide, yet he never shows his face. He must be a true recluse. My smile faded as I closed the scroll. Then I must trouble your highness to part with it. Zhao Xian stood bathed in the fiery sunset, his smile gentle. It's merely a case of loving the house and loving the crow. I wouldn't call it parting with it. What a clever way to love the house and love the crow. Zhao Huan emerged from behind me, carrying a palace lantern, his collar askew, radiating the languid ease of one who just indulged in carnal pleasures. Yet a cold smile played at his lips. Which crow do you adore? Zhao Xian bowed his hands with unhurried grace. Your Highness. Since my elder sister took a liking to it, I merely tried to appreciate it. That is all. Elder sister, He called her that with such intimacy. Zhao Xin sighed helplessly. Second brother. Sister is your cousin. And she's mine too. We grew up together since childhood. Have you misunderstood something? The moment he mentioned childhood together, Zhao Huan's eyes darkened, dripping with venom. His rough fingers traced my fingertips, interlocking tightly with mine. She is your sister. But she will be my wife. Remember that. Zhao Xin smiled without speaking, his eyes flickering as he looked at me. His smile bore a striking resemblance to brother Lin Huai's. I pulled away from Zhao Huan's grasp and gave both of them a slight nod. Your Highnesses, please continue your conversation. I must take my leave. Su Jingyan. Zhao Huan stormed after me, grabbing my arm in a fit of rage. What kind of spectacle is this? Tugging and pulling? I slapped his hand away. I haven't crossed the threshold yet. How dare you hold my hand so casually? Zhao Huan sneered coldly. What's with the sudden primness? Last night. Just moments ago. How were you writhing beneath me in ecstasy? At those words, I was momentarily speechless. I only shot a cold glance at the palace maids passing by. They all bowed their heads and knelt down with a clatter. Withdraw. As the attendants bowed and withdrew, only the chirping of insects filled the imperial garden. Ah, Huan. You are the crown prince. Don't you know what words are appropriate and what are not? Speaking such vulgar nonsense in front of so many people, how will they view you? How will they view me? We are the future emperor and empress. I tried to restrain myself, but I couldn't help but lose my temper. Zhao Huan's face was written with defiance. I sighed deeply, resting my hand on his cold, hard cheek. In private, I won't interfere with your antics. But in public, you must carry yourself with the dignity befitting a crown prince. Conduct yourself properly and don't cause trouble for your sister. Understand? A palace attendant announced from afar. His Majesty summons your Highness to the palace for the Imperial banquet. Go. I fastened his buttons and smoothed his collar. He pulled my hand away, pressing a scorching kiss to my wrist. Wait for me. After seeing him off, I turned to instruct Shuxian. Don't let him into Fengzhou Palace anymore. I'm busy lately. No time to deal with him. If the crown prince insists on coming, we can't stop him. Then find him more tutors to study with. My temples throbbed with fury. After 3 years, he was still a brash soldier, not even remotely civilized. Returning home, I found the house ablaze with light and a woman wailing. What happened? I stepped down from the carriage and saw my second younger sister, wrapped in her ceremonial robe, sitting in the front courtyard, tears streaming down her face. Her complexion was deathly pale, her voice hoarse and exhausted. Second young miss went to worship the matchmaker god yesterday. At the temple, she was violated. My brow furrowed. Who was the man across from her? Young Marquis Wang. I know Wang Chunkai. An empty-headed lecher. A womanizer who sleeps around and delights in humiliating women. But he would never lay a hand on my second sister. Last night, Aunt Lin and third young miss went with her too. How dare he? I roared. Summoning physician ran to examine the second young miss. Then ordered all female relatives to the ancestral hall. No one sleeps tonight. Our Su family residence in the capital housed 4 uncles and their households. 76 female relatives resided there. Late at night, torches illuminated the ancestral hall. I sat at the head, with my aunts and sisters seated in order. Madame Lin initially held her ground, but after a few lashes, she confessed. It turned out that recently, the eldest son of the Jian family had come to propose marriage, seeking to wed my second sister. Seeing that my second sister had no parents, Madame Lin schemed to defile her, tarnishing her virtue and making it known to all. The Jian family would certainly not want a disgraced bride. My third sister could then step in to take her place. Beat her. Beat her hard. I slammed my teacup down, my hand trembling with rage. Only when the servants fetched a club as thick as a child's arm did Aunt Lin show fear. She shrieked and lunged at me, grabbing my skirt hem. Miss. Miss. I only wanted to secure a good marriage for Jing Yun. Though she's a concubine's daughter, she's still your own sister. Which one of you here isn't my own sister? Furious, I seized her chin. Madam Lin, you were bought from a brothel by my father. You've known the taste of being trampled by thousands. Yet you sent Jing Min to Wang Chuansai's bed. How could you do such a thing? I slammed her head hard against the ground. House rules await you. Jingmin's sobs grew quieter as she stared wide-eyed. A piercing wail echoed through the ancestral hall. Blood seeped through the silk robes beneath. Jingyun lunged forward to shield concubine Lin, but servants dragged her away. Kneeling in tears, she pleaded, "Sister, if this continues, mother will be beaten to death. You needn't kneel before me. Your mother harmed no one but herself. What concern is this to me?" I leaned back in the armchair, eyes lowered as I sipped my tea. Jingyun froze, then scrambled to Jingmin's side. "Second sister. Second sister. Mother truly will be beaten to death." Jingmin's pale face remained utterly still. "Your mother will die? Did she consider my death when she drugged that beast and lured him to my chambers?" The sharp crack of the cane echoed through the ancestral hall. Madam Lin's breath grew faint. Jing Yun, frantic beyond control, banged her head against the floor before Jingmin, "Second sister. My mother was born into the world of courtesans. She doesn't know a single character. She understands nothing. Second sister. Spare her life. I'll work myself to the bone to make it up to you." The corners of Jingmin's eyes softened as she turned her gaze toward me. "Think carefully," I warned her. "If you call for it to stop, her debt to you will be settled." Young and tender-hearted, Jingmin relented. "Sister, it's enough." The servant lowered the rod. Jingyun threw herself weeping at Aunt Lin's side, sobbing pitifully. "Jingyun, this all started because of you," I said coldly. "For 10 years. You're not to think of marriage again." The dying Aunt Lin, her sickly body convulsing, screamed, "Su Jingyan, what kind of heart do you have? I'll fight you to the death. Some people, you can strike them without taking their lives. But if you prevent their daughter from marrying, they will fight you to the death. Take it out on me. Jingyun knows nothing. I alone bear responsibility for my actions." Aunt Lin's voice was choked with tears. Of course she didn't know. I understand my own sister's heart. Otherwise, I would have struck her too. "Su Jingyan, you're pushing her into a pit of fire. She'll end up like you, an old maid no one will marry." Auntie Lin's gaze was filled with venom. "You're the princess's daughter, you can afford to wait. But my Jingmin is merely a concubine's child." "Shut up. In the Su family, there's no distinction between legitimate and illegitimate daughters, they're all my sisters." I slammed my teacup down on the table. "Mother, spare me your words." Jingyun couldn't bear it either. She picked up the scissors and cut off her own hair right before my eyes. "Jingyun vows to devote herself to her studies and will not discuss marriage for 10 years. "Very well." I nodded. Madam Lin wept, her heart utterly broken. "Listen carefully, all of you." I raised my eyes, sweeping them over the assembled women. What skill is there in fighting other women over a man? If you have any real talent, go compete with men for power and influence. Instead of wasting time scheming about marriage, focus your energy elsewhere. What's wrong with scheming about marriage? A soft, mocking laugh suddenly emerged from the shadows of the ancestral hall. My sixth sister, her hair styled in twin coiled buns and dressed in a pleated skirt, emerged gracefully from the shadows. Marry into a prestigious family. Become the matriarch. Even hidden behind a man. Wouldn't you wield power and influence, commanding the winds and rains? You're quite bold. I narrowed my eyes, studying her. A girl of 16 or 17, as pure as a lotus blossoming in clear water, changing day by day. Sixth sister covered her mouth and giggled. The Jian family has produced 3 high officials across 4 generations. The legitimate wife of the eldest son will eventually rule the household. Wouldn't it be splendid if one of us sisters were chosen? What would you do once you ruled the household? I asked. Sixth sister pondered. When the grand princess married into the Su family, she managed the household for years. By the time it reached my elder sister's generation, she ascended to the head of the family, a woman in that position. I reminded her, the Jian family isn't like the Su clan, a centuries-old lineage with rigid traditions. The eldest Miss Jian has never stepped beyond the inner courtyard. Could you do it? Sixth sister stepped before me, her sweet smile radiant. So what? Our mother was merely a princess. But my sister is the empress. Excellent. Ambition indeed. I fixed my gaze upon her blossom-like features. Attendant, deliver sixth sister's birth chart to the Jian residence. Jing Han is, after all, a concubine-born child. Third aunt reminded me. I rose abruptly. What right do they have to be picky when marrying a daughter of the Su family? If Lord Jian has grievances, let him speak with me personally. My beautiful, cunning little fox prostrated herself. Thank you, sister, for your kindness. I brushed past her. I'll elevate you to the highest ranks. You may vie for it yourself. May the day come when I pay my respects to Lord Jian and find my own niece before him. Stepping out of the ancestral hall, night had deepened. Noise stirred in the front courtyard. Who clamors at the gate? The crown prince. I sighed deeply. Why him again? I couldn't very well beat him out with sticks. But father has already gone to receive him. I nodded. Thank father for me. Though father was a cynical man, he could still be relied upon when it mattered. As the senior of the household, Zhao Huan still addressed him as uncle-in-law. He surely wouldn't dare speak recklessly in his presence. I returned to my quarters and dismissed the attendants. Come out. Jing Min emerged from the corner, wrapped in white robes. It's no big deal, you needn't sneak around like this. Tears welled in Jingmin's eyes. Sister, I want revenge. Such matters are like being publicly beaten in the street. Such humiliation naturally calls for striking back. You're a spirited child. But how do you plan to avenge yourself against Wang Lang? I want him dead, the girl declared fiercely. I took a wooden sword from the rack and tossed it to her. The moment she caught it, I attacked. She couldn't block the strike and fell backward onto the floor. Again. She scrambled up and charged at me. I dodged lightly, again. She'd taken martial arts lessons at home, but she couldn't let loose. I knocked 3 of her shuriken out of her hands. Is that all you've got? You still want to kill someone? She finally let loose her fury, roaring as she swung at me. I parried her sword, meeting her bloodshot eyes with a smirk. Now that's more like it. Still, it won't kill him. A sorrowful expression washed over her eyes. As if drained of her last ounce of spirit, she collapsed to the ground. Why must I be born a woman? Why? I am a woman too. Standing in the moonlight, sword resting quietly at my side. My betrothal is far more prestigious than yours. From childhood, I was promised to the crown prince. Even when the Eastern Palace changed hands, I remained the crown princess. But Lady Lin, she never dared imagine defiling me, sending Jingyun to take my place in the palace. She dared not even dream of it. Likewise, Wang Lang never dared covet me. He was lustful, yet in my presence, he wouldn't even lift his gaze to meet mine. Because they knew, if they harbored even a shred of impure intent toward me, I would have them all beaten to death. The words beaten to death slipped lightly from my crimson lips. My sister lifted her head as if scalded. Though I've trained in swordsmanship longer than you, I hold no advantage against men. All I possess is power. But sister, I have neither power nor influence. I am merely an unmarried woman, orphaned and alone. My sister, pitiful and powerless. This autumn will bring the Imperial examinations. In her suddenly widened eyes, I saw my own smiling reflection. If you rank among the top 3, I will grant you power. Can women take the Imperial examinations? Originally, they could not. I gazed at the distant palace buildings and reached out my hand to her. With me here, it is possible. Thank you, sister, for your kindness. Jingmin wept, resting her face in my palm. A light thud sounded behind us, Zhao Huan leaping down from the wall. My vision darkened. The crown prince himself, climbing walls in the dead of night. Your father dragged me drinking. I got him drunk and slipped out. Zhao Huan's body radiated heat. Have you been waiting long? Your Highness, please return. I held Jingmin close. Tonight, I'll care for my sister. Zhao Huan froze. Is tending to your sister more important than tending to me? My face turned cold. What makes you think I was waiting for you? You spent the night in my bed, and now you think you can come here and act wild? That was merely a moment of pleasure. The crown prince doesn't even rank among my favored guests. I scooped up the unconscious Jingmin and carried her sideways into the boudoir. Right in front of him, Zhao Huan uprooted every flower and plant in my courtyard before storming out. His pride was too great. From that day on, he never spoke to me again. I couldn't have asked for more. Once Jingmin recovered, I sent her to the girls' academy. Rumors spread like wildfire. But these were educated young women. They pitted Jingmin and knew whom to despise. Hidden behind the lattice window, I watched several young ladies weep with her. Then told Lu Qing, you taught her well. That hardly needed teaching. On the way to court, Lord Jian exchanged a few casual words with me, inviting me and my 6th sister to visit the Jian household to see the eldest son. I discussed the wedding date with him. At the door, I encountered the old Marquis Wang waiting for me. My son was discourteous. I nodded. He won't be filling the position of Minister of the Palace Gates. The old Marquis Wang replied clearly. As it should be. There's another matter I must inform the Marquis of. During the court session shortly, a memorial will be presented regarding opening the autumn examinations to commoners, allowing scholars from the populace to participate. Have you lost your mind? As long as the Marquis doesn't oppose it. Even if I don't oppose it, it won't make a difference. But he owed a favor and had to repay it. True to form, he remained silent when the court and the realm were in turmoil. The reform of the autumn examinations was not passed, just as I had anticipated. The court was ablaze with heated debate, yet Zhao Huan never sought me out. I took advantage of the spring outing to inspect the estates in the countryside. It was the season of spring sowing. Farmers planted rice seedlings. Cowherds tended their cattle, a scene of pure harmony. My heart grew still and calm. People only see emperors and ministers. But emperors and ministers are utterly unimportant. What truly matters are the old farmers tending the fields, the women gathering in the mulberry groves, the merchants traveling the roads. They are the very foundation of our nation. As I rode, a light rain began to fall. I sought shelter in a nearby temple. Looking up, I suddenly realized the deity enshrined there was Brother Lin Huai. This is the late crown prince. The white-haired old man resting here told me he cared deeply for the people, visiting the fields each year to oversee spring planting. During famines, he provided relief to the suffering. Alas, he died too young. Young lady, have we met before? I smiled without answering. Who built this temple? Oh, a kind-hearted young nobleman. He visited just the other day, inspecting the temple and gifting us many iron farming tools. I nodded, then reverently offered a stick of incense before the golden statue of my brother Lin Huai. Afterward, I sat before his shrine and drifted off to sleep. In my dream, I heard the melodious sound of a flute. Lifting my eyes, I saw a man clad in white, a noble prince, graceful as a jade tree. Brother. I reached out my hand to him. He embraced me. His embrace was as warm as ever. The spring rain outside the window had ceased at some point, and the city was ablaze with lights. When I awoke, I found the Prince of Huai smiling down at me. Sister, sleeping out in the wilderness like this, aren't you afraid of the cold? I studied his features closely. In the dim lamplight, his face held a soft, gentle beauty. Why are you looking at me like that? Sister? He lowered his eyes, a blush spreading across his handsome face. I curved my lips and patted his thigh. Isn't this what you've been longing for day and night? He sent for a horse. But it's raining again. Let me ride in your carriage. I didn't refuse. You're the one who built the temple for Brother Lin Huai, right? I asked with my eyes closed. Yes. That's thoughtful. My affection for my elder brother is the same as my sister's. Zhao Xian tidied his snow-white robes, obedient and gentle. I smiled. Of course it's different. My husband is Brother Lin Huai, he is merely my younger brother. But I held no grudge against him. White robes, bamboo flute, Qingming rain. How had I never noticed before how much my third brother resembled my elder brother? Zhao Xian rode with me in the carriage to the Su residence. As we disembarked, a shadow emerged from the shadows. It was Zhao Huan, whom I hadn't seen in ages. He seemed to want to say something to me, but quickly spotted Zhao Xian emerging from behind me. His handsome features twisted instantly. He lunged forward, landing a punch squarely on Zhao Xian's cheek. What the hell were you doing? Chaos erupted before my doorstep. The crown prince assaulted Prince Huai in broad daylight. I made no move to intervene. Let them fight. Let them fight fiercer still. Just as I lamented having no leverage in the autumn court's deadlock situation, Zhao Huan handed me the perfect pretext. The crown prince's public assault on Prince Huai shocked the court and the realm. With my deliberate agitation, petitions snowballed in, and calls to depose the crown prince grew louder by the day, finally reaching the emperor, who had been secluded in Zhaoyang Palace recuperating. At dawn, Zhao Huan and I entered the palace together to present ourselves before His Majesty. The emperor rebuked him. Why has the Eastern Palace produced no heir in 3 years? Zhao Huan glanced at me. I only want a child born to me by the crown princess. But she has been unfaithful to me. Absurd. The emperor dismissed him. Amid the swirling incense smoke, only he and I remained. My uncle's gaunt hand reached out from behind the curtain. Do you truly wish to depose the crown prince? Yes. The succession was established barely 2 years ago. To depose him now would surely shake the very foundations of the state. Compared to Prince Huai, my uncle favored Zhao Huan, his son. He was a frail man, his entire life overshadowed by my mother. Beside her, he was merely a thin, ordinary man. Yet precisely because he was a man, he ultimately ascended the throne. My mother remained forever the grand princess. In the martial Zhao Huan, he saw a possibility. I know you resent me. I am old. My days are numbered. This throne is mine, and one day it will be yours. Zhao Huan is a swift blade. The realm cannot exist without blades. I never resented my uncle. I sat beside this dying man and took his hand. My uncle treated us with great kindness and tenderness. He was also Brother Lin Huai's father. I felt very close to him. My uncle sighed. Then what would it take for you to protect Zhao Huan? Tell me. I gently combed his white hair with a fine-toothed comb, imagining whether my brother Lin Huai would grow as gentle and refined as my uncle in his old age. I need uncle to help me with one thing. Oh. I wish commoners could enter the civil service. Emerging from the Zhaoyang palace, Zhao Huan waited below. When did you become entangled with Zhao Xin? His eyes were bright and piercing. Truly like a blade. Prince Huai is my brother. I am also your brother. How many brothers do you have? Exactly? He pressed forward, his eyes gleaming with intensity. Unmarried man. Unmarried woman, you sat in the same carriage with him. Did you treat him as you did that male entertainer? The crown prince has overstepped. I dislike men meddling in my affairs of the heart. Whether there is one or not. It is my private matter. He has no right to interfere. Zhao Huan seized my wrist, Su Jingyan. I am your husband. The crown prince is mistaken. I brushed his hand away. My husband is the future sovereign. But the crown prince may never ascend the throne. You wish to depose me? Zhao Huan stared in shock. You want to depose me? The watery glint vanished from Zhao Huan's eyes, replaced by a cold, ruthless glare. He said nothing more and turned to leave. Soon after, I heard he had abandoned his usual hunting expeditions, instead maneuvering among the aristocratic families. His rivalry with Prince Huai grew intense and bitter. He cultivated ties with Duke Jian, seeking the Jian clan's support, and exchanged flirtatious glances with consort Jian. My sixth sister was playing with a canary in my room. Sister, aren't you going to do anything about it? Let them fight. I kept myself occupied tracing Master Wending's calligraphy. Which emperor hasn't risen from a bloodbath among brothers? Zhao Huan has only one younger brother. If he wants the throne, can't he even defeat Prince Huai? Then what's the point of being the supreme ruler? I'm a fair person. Both are my brothers. Whichever one becomes emperor, I'll be his empress. As long as they don't make too much of a mess. I'm willing to wait and see who survives with 1,000 troops each within the palace walls. What concerns me more now is the fiercely debated matter of the commoner imperial examinations in the court. After all, I promised Sister Jingmin I'd find her a way out. The emperor, appearing in court after a long absence, supports selecting scholars from the common people. He needs people without roots, who depend on him. The aristocratic clans naturally oppose this. The court session is tense, swords drawn. Seeing the moment is ripe. I sit at my aunt's feet and hand her what I've prepared. From behind the curtain, my aunt's soft voice emerges. Since that is the case, why not compromise? Let us select scholars from among the daughters of the aristocratic families. What do you all think? The words send shockwaves through the hall. How could women hold official positions? Wasn't this utterly preposterous? They're all long-haired fools, what do they know? Ever since the Grand Princess established the Girls' Academy, nearly all noble daughters have pursued learning. To call them long-haired fools, then what of those young men who fail the imperial exams against the Girls' Academy graduates? Auntie smiled softly. Besides, these are all the daughters of distinguished officials. This struck a nerve. Noble families would never cede power to commoners. But what if it were their own daughters? Not every household could guarantee their sons would amount to anything. Indeed, many well-bred ladies in the capital, unwilling to remain confined to their chambers awaiting marriage, possessed considerable discernment. What could women achieve by passing the imperial examinations? Were they to become officials? My uncle spoke up. He peered at me over the curtain, clearly annoyed at being outmaneuvered. Women are kind-hearted and gentle, obedient and compliant. My aunt repeated my words, saying that while they might not become great generals or ministers, serving as local officials for the common people would surely be more compassionate than those insatiable corrupt officials. Later, more disputes arose. For instance, what offices women could hold, and at what rank, whether they should wear hoods when appearing in public, whether unmarried women could enter service. I took notes meticulously, a faint smile curling my lips. It didn't matter. None of it mattered anymore. Look, they were all swayed. The emperor and the aristocratic families. Locked in stalemate. Each conceded ground. They retreated precisely to the place I truly desired. The door for women in officialdom had opened. What followed was a long, gradual reshuffling of the system. In the autumn examinations, the first list of female candidates was released. For this vast nation, only 3 were selected. I did not disappoint Jingmin. Nor did Jingmin disappoint me. She passed the Imperial examination as the 3rd-place scholar. I sent her to Sichuan Chongqing as a lowly 7th-ranked county magistrate. Before the city gates, I adjusted her thick cloak. The Wang clan's arrogance and tyranny, oppressing men and women, didn't arise overnight. Their audacity stems from Nanyang being the Wang family's ancestral seat. The Nanyang Wang clan owns tens of thousands of acres, commands 100,000 servants, and possesses wealth rivaling a nation. You are the magistrate, the people's official. If you govern well, the citizens of Nanyang will live in peace and contentment. And they won't dream of becoming the Wang family's lackeys. If you govern poorly, all of Nanyang will be theirs for the taking. I understand, sister. After that incident, Jingmin threw himself into his studies. Only after passing the Imperial examinations did he dare to fall gravely ill, growing ever more gaunt. Yet within that gauntness, a new resolve had forged itself. I will ensure the Wang clan vanishes from Nanyang, leaving Wang Chunkai without family to rely on. Then killing him will be like crushing an insect. Her eyes blazed with fury. I nodded. She would remember this rage, forged by years of burning anger, until she became formidable. Uncle's health deteriorated day by day. The atmosphere within the imperial capital grew increasingly tense. To bring good fortune to Uncle, Aunt hosted a flower viewing banquet in the imperial gardens. Zhao Xian sat beside me. Zhao Huan, however, attended with consort Jian Yan. Consort Jian Yan, the legitimate daughter of the Jian family, seldom appeared in public. Yet her beauty lived up to her name, as radiant as the moon, a celestial being descended to earth. We were both hailed as the capital's foremost beauties. When others praised me, it smacked of flattery. Consort Jian Yan was different. The Jian family truly produced beauties. Her aunt, Consort Jian, had also entered the palace renowned for her peerless beauty. It was only natural that Zhao Huan favored her. Yet, for some reason, whenever my gaze swept the room, I always caught him looking at me. I understood his eyes. He hated me. He believed I favored Zhao Xian, that my affection for Zhao Xian threatened his position as crown prince, preventing him from ascending the throne without hindrance. My foolish younger brother. Though I never raised a hand against him, I never harmed him either. Prince Huai is the Jian family's nephew. Does he truly believe they would aid him? I ceased paying him any mind, drinking and conversing merrily until late into the night. The palace lanterns were extinguished, and dazzling fireworks bloomed across the sky. Truthfully, the banquet's climax arrived only after the fireworks faded. For then, all was pitch black. My first kiss with brother Lin Huai happened at my 15th birthday flower viewing banquet, in the darkness scattered by fireworks. As I reminisced about youth, a pair of hands grabbed me, pressing me against the wall for a deep kiss. I remember that cold, fierce urgency, but it also carried an indelible mix of despair and ecstasy. It was Zhao Huan. When the lamps were lit, Zhao Xian came searching for me with a lantern. The corner was already empty. Watching Zhao Huan and consort Jian Yan's retreating figures, I felt bewildered for the first time. If he hated me, why did he kiss me? The succession struggle began one evening. As I left Fengzhou Palace that day, palace guards informed me that a curfew was in effect tonight, and no one could leave the palace gates. watching the smoke signals and commotion in the south. My heart sank. Just days ago, Uncle seemed quite spirited, even playing a game of chess with me. How could he deteriorate so swiftly? I sent someone to Auntie's palace, and Lu Qing returned. What a coincidence. Rarely do I get to accompany the empress in the palace. And now I'm caught up in this succession struggle. Lu Qing's face radiated bad luck. How is the empress's palace? It's fine. Lu Qing watched as I ordered palace attendants to seal the gates of Fengzhou Palace. Looks like tonight will be a sleepless one. Will they storm in? No. They're fighting for the throne, not attacking me. Come. Let's drink and play chess. You have time for this? I've made arrangements. The tiger leopard guards won't enter the city. If they want to fight, it will happen within the palace walls. Zhao Huan and Zhao Xian must die, one of them. No room for others to sleep beside one's bed. I've already discussed countermeasures with the ministers. The capital will be under martial law for 3 days. Citizens must stay indoors. The tiger leopard guards must not interfere. We'll confine the conflict to the palace grounds as much as possible. No need to wage war over the throne, creating a scene of 100,000 corpses. Whoever becomes emperor, it's all the same. I have only one demand: spare the people. Lu Qing sighed in admiration. Your heart is truly ruthless. If Zhao Huan knew he was fighting his brother for his life while you played chess here, he'd likely be furious again. If he wins, I'll naturally treat him 1,000 times better. I placed another piece. Flames shot skyward. The battle in the front palace raged from dusk until deep into the night. Yet no outcome was decided. Suddenly, a large force stormed into the inner palace. Lu Qing and I exchanged a glance. Stay seated. I'll investigate. I grabbed the lantern and stepped into the shadows. A figure leaned against the wall. Ragged breaths coiled like white serpents. Blood drenched his body. Yet his gaze remained as deep as the ocean. Zhao Huan? How did he end up here? As the troops stormed into my Fengzhou palace, I heard Lu Qing's resigned laugh. Hey. What are you doing? Reporting to the Grand Master of Rituals. The rebel has fled. We've come to protect the safety of the chief archivist. Before the words had fully left his mouth, a black-clad warrior darted forward and plunged a blade into the speaker's heart. Zhao Huan was of the Eastern Palace. He wore black. His entire retinue was uniformly clad in black. I was bewildered. If he had suffered defeat, how could his men still be here, banding together to resist? If he hadn't been defeated, why was he here? A rough palm brushed my face. As if to confirm, you. Unharmed? He told you I was in his hands? I doubted my own ears. The struggle for the throne. Why such a clumsy excuse? And he believed it? Humph. Zhao Huan actually cracked a smile, looking almost relieved. So you're unharmed. Of course I'm unharmed. But you're about to be. I raised an eyebrow. Blood and fire reflected in the window. I lifted the lantern to leave, but he hooked his arm around my waist, pulling me back into the darkness. His breath brushed against me. Soft and urgent. Sister. Come with me. You're not the victor. So what? He laughed carelessly, kissing my snow-white neck. Come with me outside the palace. I'll take you to the northern frontier. There are vast grasslands there. You could ride your horse all day without reaching the end. He was so foolish. But I didn't laugh. Lu Qing closed the palace doors again, carrying her lamp over. Jingyan? I'm here. The lamplight swept over, and Zhao Huan retreated back into the shadows. I didn't linger, gathering my skirt and returning to my seat in the hall. Been in there so long. Something happen? Lu Qing shot me a probing glance. Nothing. I continued playing chess. You know, you can only keep one cousin. The victor becomes emperor. The loser dies. Tonight. I don't wish to act. I lifted my eyes to meet hers. Don't force me. Lu Qing burst into laughter. Her laughter infuriated me. Just as she couldn't stop laughing, the cuckoo's call sounded outside the window. Someone fluttered a letter through the window. I picked up the letter and opened it. The handwriting was hasty, but recognizable as my sixth sister's. Before and after Jingmin went to Nanyang, she had already married and become Mrs. Jian. Her letter was clearly written under extreme urgency. Only one line remained: Prince Huai has colluded with the Longshu military governor to secretly mobilize 100,000 troops toward the capital, plotting to seize the throne. I slammed the note onto the table. What's going on? Prince Huai has recruited outsiders to raise an army of 100,000 marching on the capital. The smile vanished from Lu Qing's face. That's no small number. I rose and headed toward the palace gates. The Zhaoyang Palace was ablaze with light, and the Imperial city's bell tolled. It was a death knell. This meant my uncle had become the late emperor, and someone was about to become the new one. Where are you going? Is this game still on? It is. Warm the wine and wait for me. I'll be back soon. I gathered my skirt and hurried down the palace steps. It was the swiftest pace a noblewoman could manage. When I entered the Zhaoyang Palace, the court ministers were all present. The palace gates were sealed shut. They hadn't been allowed to leave. They waited here in silence for the birth of the new emperor. Now, Prince Huai sat at the far end of the grand hall, upon the dragon throne illuminated by torches. Blood stained his robes, yet his eyes were bright. When he saw me, his gaze softened like spring water, making him resemble my brother, Prince Lin Huai, even more. I approached him with dignified composure. He looked at me as if surveying his entire realm. As I drew near in the flickering torchlight, he reached out his hands to me with desperate longing. Sister. I drew his sword and thrust it into his chest, steady and ruthless. My movement was swift. No one reacted in time. Blood splattered 5 paces as the Prince of Huai fell from the dragon throne. Eyes wide open, the entire hall erupted in shock. A figure appeared before the Zhaoyang Hall. Xu Xian supported Zhao Huan, stumbling and barely able to stand. He had no idea what had happened until he saw me, covered in blood. I beckoned to him gently. Ah, Huan. Come. Sit. Zhao Huan gazed deeply at me, traversing the torchlit imperial path before ascending the throne. I stood before the assembled court, sword in hand, watching him. At my feet lay Zhao Xian's warm corpse. I knew how Zhao Huan saw me. He looked at me as if beholding his deity. I cast aside my sword and knelt in the silence, bowing deeply before him. Long live the emperor. 10,000 years. 10,000 years. 10,000 years. Behind me, the entire court knelt in unison. The hall of Zhaoyang echoed with the chant, Long live the emperor. 10,000 years. 10,000 years. 10,000 years. Zhao Xian stared at me, his eyes wide and unclosed in death. He had defied the rules I had set. Therefore, he died. The new emperor ascended the throne. Prince Huai's funeral procession commenced. In Prince Huai's funeral hall, I encountered the mad consort Jian. This beautiful woman lunged forward, intent on tearing me apart. Xin 1. You poisonous woman. For your lowly male favorite, you cost my Xin his life. Consort. Please watch your words. You have no right to be here. Get out! Get out! She lunged forward, aiming to slap me. I easily seized her wrist. Prince Huai secretly summoned the Longshu military governor to the capital to vie for the throne. That's 100,000 troops. Shouldn't we have dispatched 100,000 troops to counter them? Had Ah Huan not acted first, the entire imperial capital would have been engulfed in war. But he won. He is the emperor. What wrong is there in the emperor summoning his subjects to the capital to eliminate traitors like you? She drew a dagger from her sleeve. I knocked the dagger from her hand and seized her throat. Consort Jian. Your son seeks the throne. So everyone must sacrifice their lives to accompany him in death. Is that it? Not only must they be buried alive, but wherever that 100,000-strong army passes, the common folk along the way cannot sow their spring crops. Their wives and children will be burned, slaughtered, and plundered. Come autumn, not a single grain will be harvested, and the common people will starve to death. Yet even this pales in comparison to your son's single desire. Does it not? Only your son's life matters, everyone else is mere fodder. He craves the supreme imperial throne, yet demands the people be torn from their families, left homeless and wandering. Such injustice has no place under heaven. I threw her to the ground. This beautiful woman tried to rise, but I crushed her skirt underfoot. Stop struggling. The victor writes history. You no longer have a son. The fury vanished from her face, replaced by a wail of utter despair. She truly believed her life was over. I sighed deeply and helped her up. You've lived your entire life behind closed doors, never seeing this realm. How could you possibly understand the weight of the empire? A luxurious carriage stood before the palace gates. Come. Leave this place. You are only 34. Perhaps you may yet bear other children. This was the only thing I could do for her. After seeing off Consort Jian, I bid farewell to another acquaintance, Lu Qing. Taking me to Longxi? You've got some nerve. The sandstorms there are no joke. Yang Du truly intended to march on the capital with his troops. Fortunately, I executed Prince Huai in time. You understand what that means. Our eyes met. A military governor, mobilizing his local troops to seize the throne? Such a gamble. Victory brings glory. Defeat brands one a traitor. Yang Du can take that gamble. But how could his soldiers dare to gamble? They're just ordinary folk. If a general tells you to rebel, and you actually dare to do it, there's only one possibility. There's no other way to survive. Anyone with a family, a livelihood, food on the table, and clothes on their back, who would risk their life like that? The situation in Longxi might be far worse than we imagined. Yet dire circumstances also breed opportunity. Not a single court official is willing to go. If you go, you become the governor. Should you succeed, you'll be a high-ranking provincial official. With an official post, you'll have standing within your clan. Even if you can't become the family head, you can start anew in Longxi. Lu Qing is no fool. She gave me a slight bow, and I returned it with a faint nod. This journey lies ahead. Endless yellow sand stretching to the horizon. Who knows when we'll meet again? As Lu Qing climbed into the carriage, she smiled at me. I've always spoken only the truth. Except once. When I was young, I told a lie. Oh, I said. As for Su Jingyan, beneath her dignified and reserved exterior lies a cunning schemer. I don't like her. I laughed. As the carriage receded, flute notes drifted from it, a rendition of willow branches. Whether friend or foe, I trust she'll excel, shine brilliantly. Because we are women. If we don't outperform men, if we don't achieve greatness, they'll say it's all because we're women. Then they'll shove us back into cages. And we refuse to be caged. There should be no cages in this world. After Zhao Huan ascended the throne, rumors spread throughout the capital that I was a fierce woman. After all, slaying Prince Huai and installing a new emperor, such deeds are beyond the capacity of ordinary women. Walking down any street, 3 storytellers would recount my exploits with vivid detail, until my name was known to all, and I sensed Zhao Huan seemed to be avoiding me. My confusion only deepened. If it were any other man, I could forgive their cowardice. My image, sword in hand, Bloodstained surely didn't align with the title of the capital's most beautiful woman. But this was Zhao Huan. He rose to power in the northern frontier through military glory, having killed countless men. How could he fear the blood on my hands? Could it be that in his eyes, I was some pure, innocent little fairy, untouched by the world? Ridiculous. Who wields power with clean hands? Soon enough, I discovered the reason for his coldness toward me. Upon becoming emperor, his first act was to send a torrent of rewards to the Jian family, straight into the hands of Consort Yan. Consort Jian Yan was indeed a beauty. Her eyes held such a cold, distant gaze. A single glance from her made you fear you'd sully her vision. That men would be drawn to such a woman didn't surprise me. So Zhao Huan was just like everyone else after all. At the first palace banquet after Zhao Huan's ascension, I presented him with a tray I'd prepared long ago. Your Majesty, the Imperial Astronomical Bureau has selected auspicious dates for the next half year. I humbly request Your Majesty's selected date for the imperial wedding. These very words he once spoke to me. Now it falls to me to urge him. With my uncle dead, he stands in the prime of his strength. My aunt cannot forever rule as Empress Dowager, nor can I remain forever seated at her feet as a lowly archivist. Such a mismatch between title and reality leaves me unable to act freely. Zhao Huan, clad in imperial robes, leaned back on the dragon throne. The empress's throne remains vacant, an inauspicious sign. But who shall fill it? He looked at me, then shifted his gaze to consort Jian Yan. Cold and distant as the moon, I find the Jian family's daughter quite suitable. What do you think, sister? A thunderclap exploded in my ears. I helped Zhao Huan ascend the throne. Yet the empress was not me. That night, my aunt raged into madness. That little beast! You aided him thus. And he marries a Jian? What kind of blockhead is he? Did he not suffer enough at the Jian's hands during the succession struggle? I sat silently by. Su Jingyan, say something. It's no big deal. Just a bit more work, I reassured her. Whether I enter the palace or not, as long as I'm here, Consort Jian Yan won't become empress. Auntie, you're still in your prime. Hold him off for a few years. Once he has children, everything will fall into place. But I can't swallow this humiliation. Can you? Auntie gripped my shoulders. Do you know what people are saying about you now? They say you willingly handed over the throne, only for him to fall for another woman and cast you aside like a worn-out shoe. I truly cannot accept this. But that's not the reason. If you don't become empress, you'll betray your mother and all my careful planning. Aunt scolded me. I understand. I'll go talk to him. I picked up the wine flask and entered Chinda Hall. I didn't know what to say to Zhao Huan. This brother felt like a stranger to me. After my brother and I were born, we were raised from childhood to be the future emperor and empress. Zhao Huan? I'd barely even seen him. My first memory of encountering him was when he was being beaten by a eunuch in the cold palace. I didn't know he was a prince at the time. I drove off the eunuch and took him to the Imperial medical office for treatment. Only then, as we talked, did I learn he was my younger brother? I don't recall my uncle ever mentioning him. Perhaps because his mother's status was lowly. He was assigned a few honest, simple maidservants and received a small sum of silver transferred from the Eastern Palace for his expenses. Such is the lot of princes in the cold palace. Worse than dogs. A mere fraction of my monthly allowance was enough to see him through to adulthood. Later, I encountered him several times in the Imperial gardens. But with brother Lin Huai by my side, I never got the chance to speak with him. Much later, I accompanied mother to the northern frontier. By then, Zhao Huan had already enlisted. He served as a cavalry captain, fresh from a brutal battle where his men were either dead or wounded. He himself was immobilized. I knew a little medicine and tended to him for a while. though I oversaw an entire camp of wounded soldiers. Because he was my brother, I secretly provided him with food and supplies different from the others. That period was grueling, and I'd rather not recall it afterward. Had brother Lin Huai not died, Zhao Huan and I would likely have been close siblings within our family. How did things turn out this way? Clutching the osmanthus wine, I stumbled into his bedchamber. Zhao Huan was drunk too, his imperial robe draped loosely, making him seem even more handsome than usual. We locked eyes for a moment, neither of us speaking. As I pondered how to begin, he suddenly reached out and pulled me into his embrace. His lips pressed against mine. Urgent. As if he'd been waiting for this for ages. Why do you hate me after I helped you become emperor? I asked him amidst the frantic kiss. You didn't choose me. He simply wouldn't listen. Then why didn't you just obey? My head was spinning. Why make me suffer? Zhao Huan stiffened against me. Well, anyway, you have no one else now. I heard a bitter laugh. Then came a night of overwhelming pleasure, relentless and unending. After that day, Zhao Huan never mentioned installing consort Yin again. Our wedding was set for the calendar. Yet soon enough, he stirred up another mess. He rejected the auspicious dates presented by the Imperial Astronomical Bureau, insisting instead on the anniversary of brother Lin Huai's death. Memorials from ministers snowed down upon the court like flakes. This was utterly preposterous. My aunt nearly tore the roof off Cunning Palace. I knew it. I knew he was an ungrateful, heartless wolf. Now that he's in power, he'll trample my Huai underfoot without shame. Auntie is beside herself with grief and has turned her fury upon me. What do you intend to do? I wish to avoid further conflict now. Zhao Huan's motives were utterly baffling. If you don't play along, he'll defy all logic. He's the emperor now. We'll need his favor many times in the future. You're willing to indulge him even in this? Auntie gave me a cold, appraising look. Have you fallen for him? Auntie, you're exhausted. I set down my teacup and rose. Get some proper rest. I stepped out into the crisp spring breeze. There's no room for romance in this palace. It's merely that the blood has barely dried. Zhao Huan and I have just reconciled, and I wish to preserve this hard-won peace. The wedding day arrived in the blink of an eye. Preparing the ceremony took considerable effort. I managed to slash the original 60,000 taels of silver down to 20,000. The ceremony was solemn and simple. Seated in a palanquin, I entered the inner palace through the Vermilion Bird Gate, riding high on the spring breeze. I wore no bridal veil. I wanted everyone to see my face clearly, to see how I had stepped by step to his side, to stand shoulder to shoulder with him at the highest point. From then on, the Hall of Brightness housed two thrones towering above the world, the Dragon Throne and the Phoenix Chair, equal in rank, overlooking all officials. When I discussed this with Zhao Huan, he remained calm. Oh, if that's what you prefer, then so be it. He even found it odd that I wished to attend court with him. He himself had no desire to attend court. Because of his words, if that's what you prefer, I did not dwell on the fact that today was the memorial day for brother Lin Huai. Compared to no longer sitting behind golden curtains at my aunt's feet, being able to stand proudly before the officials, all else seemed trivial. The imperial wedding rites were elaborate. By the time all but the closest attendants withdrew from the bridal chamber, it was late into the night. Weariness etched itself upon both our brows. After sharing the ceremonial wine, I said, "Sleep." Sleep? Zhao Huan raised an eyebrow. Tomorrow we must sacrifice at the ancestral temple, rising at the fourth watch. Then we won't sleep. Zhao Huan pinned me down on the dragon bed, stripping off my wedding robes. Beneath them lay a simple white garment. Zhao Huan's eyes grew deep. You're wearing mourning clothes. Red candles burned silently, his gaze cold and shadowed. With so many ceremonies, I never counted on consummating the marriage. I reasoned with him, after all. It's my brother's Memorial Day. The Empress Dowager has grieved for so long. She didn't even attend the wedding because of it. Zhao Huan ignored me. He gritted his teeth, determined to strip off my mourning clothes. I couldn't bear it anymore and slapped him across the face. Zhao Huan, Ling Huai is dead. Your throne is his. This dragon bed is his. And I am his too. But now he lies beneath the earth, while you are here, with me. I seized his collar. What more could you possibly want? You've left his wife and mother without even a shred of remembrance. Wife? Whose wife are you? Zhao Huan demanded. You remember today is his death anniversary. But do you remember today is also our wedding day? It wasn't meant to be one day. You insisted on choosing the same day. You personally dressed me in this mourning robe. Zhao Huan fell silent. He never could win an argument with me. But his eyes grew wet. His features were handsome and sharp. His gaze always cold and fierce. Yet when they glistened with tears, he looked inexplicably pitiable. I patiently reached out to wipe his tears. Go to sleep. Will you? We must rise early tomorrow. Zhao Huan knocked my hand away. I refused to indulge his tantrum any longer, slipped on my outer robe, and left the Changle Hall. Cry if you must. But I'm going to sleep. After the wedding, I seized control of the court, citing the emperor's youth and inability to govern. The ministers were accustomed to it. After all, I had sat behind that golden curtain for 3 years. They simply hadn't heard my voice, for the Imperial archivist was not permitted to speak. She was merely a minor official seated at the Empress Dowager's feet, recording the court debates. Yet they all knew where the Empress Dowager's words originated. Now, I still spoke very little. But if any debate arose, when I spoke, it signaled its end. Zhao Huan resented me. At first, he delighted in contradicting me. But when he realized he was merely making a fool of himself, he stopped trying so hard to look foolish. He grew increasingly averse to attending court, demanding I kick him out of bed each morning at his private quarters. I received Yongdu's severed head. Lu Qing had specially preserved it in quicklime and dispatched it from Longxi to the imperial capital. The situation in Longxi was dire, but not yet dire enough to warrant war. She could handle it. This was the finest wedding gift I had ever received. After our falling out, Zhao Huan threw himself into expanding his harem. The aristocratic families scrambled to send women to his palace. And suddenly my desk was piled high with scrolls. Sixth sister gazed at the towering stacks of scrolls and shook her head. Because she tipped me off during the succession struggle. She was divorced and sent home. After I became empress, she moved into Fengzhou Palace with me to rest and nurture her pregnancy. My sixth sister truly possessed some skill. The timing of her pregnancy was remarkably clever. So well timed that a single letter of hers deposed the Prince of Huai. Even Lord Jian, seeing her visibly pregnant belly, dared not enforce the family law upon her. She returned home in grand style, riding in a palanquin. My poor brother-in-law, still dodging his father's beatings, would often climb over walls to see her and the child. Do you think being empress is so easy? Running a household is hard enough, let alone one of the imperial family. I smiled. Sister, you didn't have to struggle so hard, at least not over this. Sixth sister cradled the kitten, teasing it playfully. The emperor never wanted so many consorts in the first place. Oh, can't you see, sister? He's deliberately provoking you. A mischievous glint flashed in her eyes. I thought she'd say, he takes pleasure in upsetting me. Only when he makes my life miserable does he feel satisfied. Have you ever considered why? Probably because I didn't clearly take his side during the succession struggle. Sixth sister sighed in exasperation. If it were only about interests between the emperor and you, you'd be his most reliable ally now. Why does he still treat you this way? Honestly, I'd like to know too. He likes you. Sixth sister's gaze held a hint of mischief. What? The emperor has feelings for you. My sixth sister's smile widened, revealing genuine, unadulterated romantic affection. My hand holding the brush froze. Ink from the brush tip smudged on the paper. The fog surrounding Zhao Huan in my mind suddenly cleared. He actually likes me? No wonder. No wonder. Now it all makes sense. He always tried to provoke me with other women. Yet he'd fly into a rage when I flirted with other men. His power struggle with Prince Huai over the throne began after I declared, "My husband is the emperor, not the crown prince." So even after I helped him secure the throne, he still hated me. He didn't want the throne, he wanted me. He resented that I hadn't chosen him. He also hated brother Lin Huai. Hated him to his very core. You only think of today as his death anniversary, you never considered it our wedding day. His words still ring in my ears, leaving me faintly dazed. So that's how it was. So that's how it was. Yes. Yes. Zhao Huan was pure. Born a lowly pawn. He didn't grow up in scheming and deceit like us. He didn't care about gain. But he cared for me. Every man and woman I've encountered has schemed against me. I've grown accustomed to it. And that's how I saw Zhao Huan. That's why I could never truly understand him. But he was merely an open red note all along. Outside the palace. Word spread, Zhao Huan had arrived. He wore all black, crowned with the 9-lotus imperial diadem. Upon seeing me, his lips pressed down slightly, revealing deep displeasure. This was his first visit to my Phoenix pavilion since our marriage. Sixth sister exchanged a knowing glance with me before silently withdrawing. Only the two of us remained in the grand hall. I was half skeptical of her words. I wanted to test him. You must not take in more concubines. Zhao Huan's gaze drifted over. Oh? They cost money and serve no purpose. Zhao Huan gave a cold laugh. You only care about money. I reached out, gently covering his hand. The sharpness vanished from his face, replaced by confusion. I tentatively clasped his hand, gazing at him tenderly. He turned his head away, a flush spreading across his handsome features. As you wish. My heart stirred involuntarily. It's true. It's actually true. My sixth sister is truly brilliant. I patted the spot beside me, motioning him to sit. Why are you suddenly so nice to me? Do you have some scheme? He sat down, but his body bristled with tension. What scheme could I have? I'm merely seeking a bride for His Majesty. Zhao Huan's expression darkened. Why is he upset again? Wasn't I gentle enough with him? He pulled out the scroll depicting consort Jian. I want her. I stared at the cool, distant woman on the scroll, unusually conflicted. Zhao Huan pressed. You don't want her? I have to take her. The eldest daughter of the Jian family. The imperial consort's niece. If I refuse to bring her into the palace, Lord Jian will likely cause an uproar. They might not favor Zhao Huan, but they'd certainly want a granddaughter bearing the Zhao surname. Should he ever ascend the throne, it would be a surefire win. That's the very purpose of the harem. To offer the great clans a share of the spoils. Why all this hesitation? Zhao Huan's hand fell upon my waist. Just say the word, and I'll let her go. Take her. I made the decision. Selecting the noblewomen who must enter the palace. I assigned their positions and sent the list to your palace. Zhao Huan transformed again into a snarling beast lurking in the shadows. Do you just love taking in little ones for me? They aren't little. Especially consort Jian Yan. She is held in high esteem. I reminded him. He grew increasingly irritable. I recalled sixth sister's words. Right, you can't reason with Zhao Huan. I dislike this too. I gripped his collar tightly. But this is my duty. Zhao Huan silently lifted his eyes. His ink-black gaze finally cleared like skies after rain. That night, Zhao Huan stayed in my palace. The next morning, we nearly missed the early court assembly. Consort Yan entered the palace in autumn. To show my respect, I elevated her to imperial consort upon her arrival. Zhao Huan refused to go to her palace. Consort Jian Yan ignored him in return. I didn't intervene in their affairs. Once they were married into the palace, I'd fulfilled my duty. They could do as they pleased. I had too many memorials to review each day. I didn't ask for much. As long as I could save face, that was enough. Yet I never imagined these two, who once caused such a stir they nearly ruined my plans, would become such bitter enemies. It began when the Jian family, hearing Zhao Huan hadn't favored consort Jian, slipped aphrodisiacs into his wine and forced him into her quarters. Consort Jian awoke to find him in her bed and immediately slapped him twice. This infuriated Zhao Huan, who returned the slaps. I just settled into bed when word reached me that the emperor and the noble consort were fighting in Guanshu Palace. Without even combing my hair, I rushed over. Guanshu Palace was in utter disarray. How dare she strike me? Emperor Zhao Huan roared in fury. If the Jian family hadn't tampered with my wine, why would I be here? I held him close, soothing his rage. There. Zhao Huan raised his sword. Today I'll punish her for high treason. Enough! I raised my voice sharply and snatched the sword from him. The medicine hadn't worn off yet. Zhao Huan's fingers went limp, and he collapsed into my arms, panting heavily. Sister is here. Sister is here. I kissed his forehead. Zhao Huan was so drunk he was delirious, burying his face in my chest. He wept. I am the son of heaven. I'll have her head cut off. I'll banish her to the cold palace. Leave this to me, okay? Sister won't let you suffer any injustice. Zhao Huan finally calmed down, his arms wrapped around my neck, holding the emperor. I told the imperial consort, you may leave now. Consort Jian stood tall and slender in plain robes, expressionless. Throughout this farce, she remained as still as a soulless statue. Hearing my voice now, she didn't even glance at us before turning and leaving. I toiled all night attending to Zhao Huan. Damn it! The potion Jian Gong gave him was potent indeed. The next day, I nearly missed morning court again. Zhao Huan held grudges like a hawk after court. He intended to banish consort Jian Yan to the cold palace. When I arrived, consort Jian Yan had already packed her belongings. She wore plain robes as before, cold and distant like a celestial maiden. Are you truly going to the cold palace? I sat down in her courtyard. She ignored me. The world only knew consort Jian Yan would enter the palace as a consort, destined to be my lifelong rival, just like the previous empress and imperial consort. But they didn't know her indomitable spirit, youthful grace, talent fit for the court, ambitions unfulfilled. A sorrow to behold. Her footsteps halted. This is a recent calligraphy treasure I acquired, a personal manuscript by Master Wending. Jian Wending, what can you possibly accomplish in the cold palace? Beneath the pear blossoms, Jian Wending and I sat facing each other, drinking wine. When did you first know? She looked at me squarely for the first time. At first, it was just a hunch. I poured her wine myself. Wending's poetry and essays first circulated in the imperial capital when I was 15. They say seeing one's writing is like seeing the person. The moment I read your work, I thought of you without reason. A woman's intuition is truly terrifying. Indeed terrifying. A faint smile flickered in Jian Wending's eyes, like millennia of ice melting. No one in this world knew except my personal maid. You were the first. You should have been this year's top scholar. The late emperor and I had already chosen you. I know. Jian Wending showed neither sorrow nor joy. She possessed the capital to scorn any scholar. Even the outcome held no suspense for her. But you didn't come to the palace examination. I couldn't come. I would have died. Qian Wending gazed blankly at the pear-blossom white liquor in her cup. I was born a consort. No matter how well I performed, I could never become the top scholar. The top scholar is merely a 7th-ranked county magistrate. But I can give you the entire Wenyuan pavilion. A petal of pear blossom fell into the wine, sending ripples across the surface. Wending, I want you to recompile all the classics, histories, philosophies, and miscellaneous works from ancient times to the present. Compile an encyclopedia unlike any before. This work will bear your name. Your annotated classics will become the official texts for all scholars in our dynasty's imperial examinations. Qian Wending's hand trembled. What are your demands? In your version, erase every trace of male supremacy and female subordination. Not a single word may remain. That's not too difficult. Qian Wending murmured. The doctrine of male supremacy over women was first proposed by Dong Zhongshu to Emperor Wu of Han to restrain the imperial clan. Are you aspiring to be emperor? I am the emperor. I sighed. I am the master of this realm, known to all under heaven. Yet they must address me as empress. To preside over court, I must rely upon my husband. For the scriptures declare women cannot be emperors. Do you not find this laughable? It is indeed absurd. Qian Wending nodded solemnly. She and I are alike. I, who look down upon the world, cannot become the son of heaven. She, who towers over the literary world, cannot become the top scholar. We are not even worthy of possessing our own names. She understands me. Being emperor is the greatest thing in the world. I gaze upon the Zhaoyang Palace. See, all men will fight and seize it. Yet they forbid women even to dream of it. If women can't even become emperors, how could any other good fortune in this world ever come to them? I will change this imperial tradition. You help me change these scriptures. It's not just Dong Zhongshu's personal opinion. It's in every word and line of the scriptures. This isn't too difficult either. Qian Wending repeated calmly. Then I thank you. I handed her the key to the Wenyuan pavilion. 100 doctors of the 5 classics already await there. The proud Qian Wending performed a deep bow before me. Then, clad in plain robes, she drifted away. Half a month later, at the flower viewing banquet, Qian Wending sat beside me. Is the Empress Dowager well within the palace? Lord Jian inquired. I am well. Thank you for your concern, Father. She glanced at me with a smile. Master Jian looked surprised. But her smile was genuine, leaving him with nothing more to say. Thanks to Jian Wending's mediation, 6th sister was welcomed back to the Jian family and gave birth to a daughter. Your belly sure is productive. I teased, playing with my plump little niece. I'll have your brother-in-law grant her the title of princess. When she's older, we'll send her to the palace for her education. To me, a girl I favor is a phoenix. Without my favor, she'd likely face cold stares. Qian Wending worked swiftly, revising the 4 books and 5 classics within a year. Well done. I pulled her to sit. The palace diet is strict. But I recall your love for osmanthus cakes. I made a special batch. Qian Wending could write 1,000 words while riding a horse. Yet she herself was quiet. As I read, the osmanthus cake was brought over. Her amber eyes turned to me. How did you find out? Though you never stepped beyond the gates. With so many acquaintances in the capital, I've seen you a few times. I fanned myself with a round fan. Qian Wending sat down beside me and quietly began eating the osmanthus cake. What reward would you like? I desire nothing. Qian Wending drew out a small portrait and handed it to me. For you. I took it and looked. It was me, leaning against a beauty bench, idly feeding koi. My heart fluttered slightly. It's truly well painted. Just passing by. Qian Wending remained as cool as ever, though her eyes flickered slightly. Thank you. I smiled at her. I've collected many of your paintings over the years. Looking back, I realize I've wasted a fortune on them. The imperial consort certainly has time on her hands, constantly visiting the empress's palace for no apparent reason. The painting in my fingers was snatched away. Zhao Huan had appeared outside the floral window at some point, crowned with the 9-layer imperial diadem, clad in a single black robe. His majestic bearing carried an icy chill. Jian Wending paid him no mind. I tried to smooth things over. The imperial consort has newly revised the 4 books and 5 classics. Would your majesty care to review them? I'm not like the imperial consort, fond of reading. Did you not know that? Empress? Zhao Huan entered, grabbed my hand, and said, "Well, you're here now. After all this time in the cold palace, you might as well learn how to serve someone." With that, Zhao Huan dragged me into the bedchamber and tossed me onto the bed. Zhao Huan, have you lost your mind? In broad daylight. Ah. He bit down hard on my earlobe, then pulled down the canopy without another word. That day, he was utterly mad. My voice grew hoarse from screaming. Fortunately, Jian Wending had slipped away unnoticed. Her proud nature could never endure such humiliation. What are you staring at? Can't bear to leave? He grabbed my neck, yanked me back, and pinned me into the pile of brocade. Sending away that batch of male favorites was one thing, but you actually have women too. Between Wending and me, there truly was a mutual admiration. Just like between me and Lu Qing. Even Jing Min. My feelings for them were far removed from lust. I could fantasize about men, but I dared not fantasize about them, especially Wending. Wending wasn't meant to be toyed with. But Zhao Huan was fair game. I wrapped my arms around his and kissed the corner of his lips. Don't get any ideas. Okay? I only cherish you. All right? Zhao Huan's fury softened into gentleness. He was easy to read. I grew increasingly adept at steering him. Afterwards, I had Shuxian bring me the contraceptive potion. Unexpectedly, Zhao Huan remembered the miniature portrait was still with me. He deliberately returned to tear it to shreds, making a surprise counterattack. Seeing me drink the medicine, he flew into a rage, sparking another heated argument. I held the emperor. His eyes reddened. Ah, Huan, I can't have children right now. Why? Wouldn't it be wonderful to have a child together? You only see the joy of having a child. Have you considered I might die? Zhao Huan froze in shock. I looked at him solemnly. I truly could die. No matter how strong a woman is, childbirth carries the risk of death. I have important work to complete. If I die, no one can replace me. Not Zhao Huan. Certainly not Auntie. I won't urge you to seek other consorts. For I too believe a child belongs to both of us. That's best. I cupped his hands in mine. But you must wait several years for me. Will you? Zhao Huan kissed my wrist. I only want a child with you. Don't send me other women. I know. I too only want a child with you. All my former male favorites were given specially concocted potions. They'll never have children. For anyone else, I wouldn't subject myself to drinking the potion. I gently tucked his temple hair behind his ear. Do you still want it? Since you've already taken the potion. Zhao Huan showed me through his actions that he couldn't ask for more. In the bedroom, Zhao Huan was an exceptional lover. I was captivated by his body, though my plans were meticulous. Yet just 4 years later, I still conceived. I was 26 that year. Neither too early nor too late. After much deliberation, I resolved to take the gamble. Before delivery, I summoned Lu Qing and Jing Min back to the imperial capital, and also called Wending and sixth sister into the palace. I burned incense and prayed in the ancestral temple, with them by my side. The best outcome would be a healthy daughter, both mother and child safe. If it were a boy, he would die shortly after birth. I instructed Wending. Sixth sister gasped sharply. Unlike the others, raised in seclusion, she lacked such ruthlessness. After all, it was her elder sister's flesh and blood. Didn't she feel maternal affection? Raising him would only lead to death. Whether he dies early or late, it's the same. Raising him would only add to the heartache, and that's not even the worst part. Wending suddenly lifted her head. There's something worse? If I die, then it truly will be the end. I sighed deeply. When that time comes, Jingmin, you will enter the palace and take my place. Jingmin's eyes widened. Me? Tax revenues from Sichuan and Chongqing have surged 70% over the past 2 years. Your execution of the entire Wang clan has cowed the great clans. Whether as head of the Su family or as empress, you surpass any rival. But your path will be harder than theirs. Do you know where you must go? Jingmin prostrated herself. I will devote myself wholly to upholding the empress. Good. My mother was a princess. I am the empress. And my daughter must become the emperor. If I leave no daughter, then you may claim the throne yourself. That won't happen. Lu Qing reassured me. You look perfectly healthy. Under my rule, I'd have you working as a laborer repairing the city walls. Don't speak so gloomily. Her jest drew laughter from everyone. Yet the dark clouds hovering overhead remained thick and heavy. After they left, I knelt alone in the ancestral temple. If heaven grants my wish, let it be a daughter. We have waited for an empress for 3 full generations. This is the closest we have ever come to success. There will never be a better opportunity. Women's academies sprang up across the land like bamboo shoots after rain. For the first time, women stepped beyond their homes to pass imperial examinations, entering the court as officials. They no longer needed veils to conceal their faces, could be counted in household registries, and could engage in farming or commerce. All scriptures erase the notion of male supremacy. If even now we cannot produce an empress, one who inherits absolute power through legitimate imperial succession, then these fleeting moments will never become the norm. I burned incense and prayed all night long, until waves of excruciating pain surged through my womb. My health had never been robust. The demands of state affairs had drained much of my vitality. The labor was difficult, and the agony lasted a full day and night. Zhao Huan burst into my birthing chamber 3 times, kneeling by my bedside, weeping and saying he regretted it. Regret was useless now. I clasped his hand. I only ask one thing of you. Zhao Huan's expression was tender yet sorrowful. Tell me. I'll agree to anything. With my last ounce of strength, I pulled him close and spoke one sentence. Then I lost consciousness. When I awoke, the room was bustling with cheers. I saw Zhao Huan holding a bough in one hand, cradling a tiny bundle in his arms. All the voices couldn't drown out that piercing cry. You're awake. When Ding lifted the curtain and sat down beside me. How long was I unconscious? Half an hour. Only half an hour. I thought I was dead. What is the emperor doing? When Ding gazed out the window, a rare glow of joy in his eyes, he's accompanying the princess in shooting arrows to the 4 corners of heaven and earth. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. I laughed until tears streamed down my face. Since ancient times, when the Son of Heaven had a legitimate firstborn son, he would take him to shoot arrows to the 4 corners of heaven and earth. If it was a girl, they would pick up a handkerchief and toss her onto the ground, for she would belong to another family henceforth. Even my mother, noble as she was born this way. But my daughter, the moment she cried her first cry, her father took her to conquer the world. To tell all under heaven, she is the new mistress of the land. I remember this was my final entrustment to Zhao Huan before I lost consciousness. He did not disappoint me. Zhao Huan never fails me. After Zhao Gaoyang's birth, My aunt began to stir restlessly, urging me openly and covertly to eliminate Zhao Huan. I told her now was not the time. The princess is young and needs her father. For her to ascend the throne, Zhao Huan must smoothly transfer imperial authority to her. I will not allow her reign to lack legitimacy. She must be recognized as her father's daughter, the crown princess of the Eastern Palace, before she could rightfully ascend as sovereign. This was unprecedented in the history of the realm. We could not afford any missteps that would give others cause for gossip. But my aunt refused to relent, especially when a rumor began circulating within the palace. It claimed the crown prince had killed the crown prince. Brother Linghuai's death was suspicious. He died during our spring tour, his body bearing knife wounds. At the time, Zhao Huan had just returned victorious, his army encamped nearby. I had several gossiping palace attendants beaten to death. But my aunt took notice. Ever since Zhao Huan chose to marry me on the anniversary of Brother Linghuai's death, my aunt has hated him to the core. She was merely biding her time. Now Gao Yang can already call her grandmother. As the Imperial Palace grows ever more splendid and Zhao Huan becomes more and more like an emperor each day, her pain deepens daily. All this should have been her son's. On the day I left the palace to bid farewell to Lu Qing, Auntie had men trap Zhao Huan in Chinda Hall, locked the doors and windows, and set it ablaze. When I returned, flames raged sky high. Jing Yan, do you remember Lin Huai? Auntie's eyes brimmed with longing. You grew up together, babbling your first words under my and the Grand Princess's care. Childhood sweethearts. No one could ever separate you. Have you forgotten him? I glanced at the flames beside me. No. He's always been in my heart. A flicker of hope flickered in my aunt's eyes. Good. Very good. As long as you haven't forgotten. Zhao Huan is of no use anymore. Kill him. I ran my fingers over Zhao Huan's beloved bow. I had planned to take Gaoyang horseback riding and archery today. The moment I drew the bowstring, my aunt looked utterly stunned, just like Zhao Xian all those years ago. But my hand was always swift and precise. The arrow pierced her chest. She collapsed to the ground, a pool of crimson blood spreading beneath her. The madness in her eyes vanished with her strength. Hearing the sounds of the crowd breaking into Chinda Hall, I walked to her side. To this woman who raised us, who felt like a second mother to me, I whispered, Auntie. She could no longer speak. I cradled her in my arms. I know why you've held this grudge. Because Brother Linghuai bore a striking resemblance to my mother. We were raised alongside them from childhood. She believed Linghuai was her child with my mother. I'll bury you beside mother. I closed her eyes. Watching Zhao Huan emerge from the burning imperial robes, covered in soot and dust. Couldn't you escape yourself? I asked. I wanted you to come for me. Zhao Huan admitted frankly. Lately he'd been restless, constantly seeking my gaze for no reason. I pulled him down to sit beside me. I know you killed Brother Linghuai. I always knew. Zhao Huan's expression was nothing short of stunned. That rainy night when he struck, I was outside the tent. I saw him drive his long sword into Brother Linghuai's chest. He was still alive when I entered. I didn't call the imperial physician. I just held him like this, stroking his hair, waiting for his blood to slowly drain away, watching him grow colder inch by inch in my arms. I loved him deeply. No one in this world loved him more than I did. I truly believed he would become a wise and enlightened ruler. He would treat me with utmost respect, growing old together by my side. I am Zhang Liangdi, newly appointed to the Eastern Palace, here to pay my respects to the future crown princess. I intended to come sooner, but alas, the crown prince keeps me by his side night after night, leaving me too weary to rise in the morning. An apologetic smile graced her delicate, charming face. He would pass the throne to our son, and our son's son, and our son's son's son, and our daughters will be locked away in their chambers. Just like all daughters throughout history, Zhao Huan is different. Zhao Huan can give me anything, without holding anything against me. He will indulge me, turning dreams into reality. You are the one I chose. My lips met his. Before us, the eastern sky broke dawn. A new sun rose. The end.